Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to achieve a silk press, especially if you have 4-type hair like moi. So if you're interested in this video, keep watching and I will give you all my tips and tricks. Okay, so just a background story about my hair. I have 4-type hair, and in the past, I used to find it very difficult to achieve and maintain a silk press. I have 4A, B, and C hair, so it was just pretty difficult to maintain it because four type hair is tighter and is coilier, and yeah, sometimes it's even coarser. So it was very hard for me to maintain a silk press, yet alone achieve a silk press. um, so yeah, so when I did finally achieve one, it was very, very hard for me to maintain it, and it was just a mess. So these 10 tips that I'm going to give you will help you achieve and maintain your silk press for as long as you would like it to last, okay? So let me go ahead and pull my tips up. I need some lip gloss. Okay. So these 10 reasons are why your silk presses are unsuccessful, okay? So tip number 1, you have dry, brittle hair. If your hair is dry, if it's brittle, if it has no moisture, if it has no natural oils, or like say for instance you wash your hair and you don't moisturize it after, you literally stripped it of its natural oils and didn't put any back. Okay, so that's essentially what you did, and I used to do that before I knew better, and my mom used to do it, and my aunts did it. So we didn't know. Like, we thought we could just wash our hair and pretty much not do anything, just braid it up or wash it and put it in a style, but it's still dry. Okay, so yeah, that's tip number 1. Like, if your hair is dry, if it's brittle, it's not going, you're not going to be able to achieve a silk press because it won't look right. It won't look the same. It won't look, your hair needs to be moisturized, okay? I'm not saying oil it down, make it super oily or anything like that. I'm just saying your hair needs to be moisturized to even achieve a silk press, although it needs to be moisturized in general anyway, even if you're not doing a silk press, okay? So tip number 2, you need a trim, okay? So I don't know about y'all, but I hate having a silk press and I got fairy knots, I got split ends. It makes the ends look raggedy. It makes the ends not look sleek whatsoever. It's hard for your hair, your silk press, to look sleek if your ends are split. You have fairy knots, you have all kinds of stuff going on with the ends of your hair. So you need a trim, okay? You have to trim your hair to keep it healthy, to maintain health and length and stuff like that. So a trim is vital to having a silk press because you may not see what's wrong with it when it's curly, but you're definitely gonna see what's wrong with it when it's straight. So yes, you need a silk press if you flat iron it and your hair, the ends look frizzy, or it looks like the ends are just like reverting already. 9 times out of 10 you have a lot of fairy knots or you have a lot of split ends, and you need to go ahead and trim those off. Okay, so tip number 3, you're not taking all the necessary steps of a silk press, okay? Some people think they can just do a wash and go, wake up a few days later and be like, oh, I want to silk press my hair, and not blow dry it or anything. That's not how a silk press works. You can't, I'm sorry for my background noise, you guys, if you guys hear that. That is not how a silk press works whatsoever. You cannot just, oh, I want to flat iron my hair without washing. No, you have to wash it, condition it, deep condition it, blow dry it, put your, so the way I do it is I wash my hair, I condition it, I deep condition it, then I get out the shower, I put in my leave-in conditioner, and I put in an oil to kind of protect my hair from the heat, then I blow dry it. After I blow dry it to where it's as straight as it could possibly get, I go ahead in with my flat iron. Then I flat iron it. And I'm gonna give you another method I do. It'll be later, but yeah, that's basically the steps that I follow to flat iron my hair. That's the steps that I follow to get up to a silk press. So you have to follow all the necessary steps. You can't just, oh, I want a silk press, and after you have a wash and go and you don't wash it and you're like, oh, well, I'm just gonna wash it in a few days. That doesn't work. You can't do that. That's not gonna be good for your hair, and your hair won't, especially if you use, like I use my L. So if you have like certain sticky products, like some of my L's products can be a little sticky, but if you like use stickier products in your hair, it's definitely not gonna work. So you have to wash your hair and condition it, deep condition it, blow dry it, and go through all those steps, and then your silk press will be achievable. Okay, so tip number 4, you need a better straightening tool. Some people use a brush, the straightening brush. Some people use this new straightening thing that they have on TikTok. I don't know what it is. A good old-fashioned flat iron works for me. I like my flat iron. I don't really see myself using anything else unless I come across something that works better than the flat iron. But I see myself using the flat iron and the flat iron only. So some hair types are too coarse, or they're too thick, or too coily or curly, whichever one you prefer to say. I prefer to say coily. Sometimes your hair can be too coily for certain products, like the straightening brush, or the tool. I don't know what it is. It's some type of straightener that they have on TikTok. Sometimes with 4 type hair, your hair could be way too coily for that. So if you're using that and if you're using it and it works, then by all means keep using it. But if you're using it and it's not working, and your silk press is not as you desire it to be, then it's time to get a flat iron, honey. It's time to go ahead and switch to the good old flat iron. Tip number 5, you're rushing through it, okay? You cannot take big chunks of hair and expect it to be bone straight. And what I mean by that is some people will rush through it because, like, a lot of people, especially with 4C, 4A, 4B, most people with 4 type hair in general have a lot of hair. So since they have a lot of hair, they try to take very big sections and rush through it, because otherwise it's going to take a long time. You can't rush through it. You can't take big chunks of hair and just go over with a flat iron. That's not going to work. Not for us, boo. That's not going to work for us at all. Like, your hair is normally, if you have 4 type hair, 9 times out of 10 you have thick hair. You have a lot of hair. So you can't take big sections and just expect it to be straight, okay? You have to section it off, section by section. I like to start in the back and work my way up and to the sides, but you can't just take big sections of hair and expect it to be bone straight or stay bone straight. Even if you get it bone straight, you're probably gonna have to pass through it a million times to even get it really straight, and that's not good for your hair. So me, honestly, I don't really recommend going over your hair more than twice. Twice is the limit for me. If you have very thick hair like I do, twice, your hair can handle twice. But more than twice, I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, you're rushing through it a lot of times. A lot of people rush through it because they have a lot of hair, and that's not gonna help your case. That's not gonna get you a silk press. It's going to look blown out maybe, but it won't be a silk press, if that makes sense. Okay, my phone locked on me. Okay, so tip number 6. Tip number 6 is I feel like it kind of goes with tip number 5. you're not using the comb chase method. If you are not using the comb chase method, what are you doing? Like, I only use the comb chase method, especially if you have thick hair and it's very curly like mine is. My hair is very, very curly. So if you have thick hair and it's very curly, then, you know, you kind of, I feel like the comb chase method kind of separates the hair evenly and makes the hair slicker. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling, but yes, the comb chase method definitely helps. I highly suggest using the comb chase method. If you don't know what the comb chase method is where you put the comb on your hair right here, and you put the flat iron right here over top, and you go down, making sure the comb is in front of the flat iron. That's the comb chase method. It kind of evenly distributes the hair throughout the flat iron, so one space is not getting flat ironed more than another, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I hope I don't sound crazy. But yes, I highly suggest using the comb chase method because it will really make a difference in how your silk presses turn out. Tip number 7, you're not using the right products. And when I say you're not using the right products, I use a lot of anti-frizz. I use a lot of defining products, and this is without, even when I'm not doing a silk press. I don't do silk presses often. I don't flat iron my hair very often, maybe twice a year. I don't flat iron my hair often at all. So when you're using, like, doing your wash and go, say for instance, okay, use products that will bring the frizz down. If that, I hope that makes sense. So I use my L, okay, and when I use my L, I always get the most defining products, the products that are going to define my curls the absolute most. And the reason I do that is because I'm kind of training my hair to not be frizzy. So before I started putting my L in my hair and having a regimen, my hair was very, very frizzy. I would do a wash and go, and no matter what I would do, no matter what I would use, no matter how I would do my wash and go, or how I would try to preserve my wash and go, it was a frizzy mess. It was frizzy. It was all over my head. It looked a little crazy. It looked like humidity. It got a hold of me. And you want to use more products that take away as much frizz as possible. So I like my L. Some people use TGIN. Whatever works for your hair, great. Use that. If it is anti-frizz, even better. But I just make sure I use anti-frizz products because I know you have to know your hair. I know my hair. I have frizzy hair. My hair gets very frizzy very fast if I don't use my L or any other product that helps with anti-frizz. So sometimes it could be that you're using the wrong products and you're not getting enough moisture, or sometimes it could be that you're like me and you just have frizzy hair. But you just want to make sure that you know your hair type and you know what your hair likes. In order to have a successful silk press, you have to know what your hair likes without the silk press. Okay, so tip number 8, you don't have a healthy routine and your hair isn't trained, and or your hair isn't trained. So if you don't have a healthy hair routine is literally everything. Okay, you have to have a schedule because it will. Okay, I'm going to just tell you guys about my hair. So when I first started, I cut my dreads off. I had dreadlocks and, well, locks. You know, I know some people get offended when I say dreadlocks, locks, whatever. I call them dreadlocks. I had locks for about 4 years, and they were really long. They were down my back. And I ended up cutting them off. Long story. I ended up cutting them off, and once I cut them off, I cut my hair off. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it here. But this is how short my hair was. Like, I was bald. I ain't had no hair. Okay. My hair was like literally that long. Okay. And I just started putting wigs on. I didn't do anything with my hair. I bought some cheap argan oil, or I bought something cheap from the beauty supply. I put that in my hair. I went on about my business. I put my wigs on. I wore wigs for like a year. And then I would take my hair like nonstop. Like, I never had my hair out at this time. And then I would take my hair out and see how long it was. And I was like, no, I thought it would be longer by now. So I put my wigs back on, wear them nonstop. And I started really wearing my hair after 2 years after I cut it. And the 2 years after I cut it, I was like, okay, it's longer now, but I would like it to be more defined, because it was very frizzy. It was very frizzy. It was very unmanaged. It was very wild. My hair was very, very wild. I'll try to find a picture of that as well. If I can, I'll put it on the screen somewhere. So I started to, I think it was last year. It's 2023. So back in 2022, I'll say like September, October of 2022, I started to really get into taking care of my hair. And I had to find which products were best. I had to, like, I did a lot of searching, a lot of looking, and I failed a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I failed a lot of the time because I didn't know what products to use. So I went on YouTube one time and I was like, okay, I kept seeing something about Mael. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try that. So I went to my beauty supply, I got Mael, and ever since, for me personally, and this is not a sponsored video, for me personally, it's been a lifesaver. I've loved Mael. It has worked wonders for my hair. So once I saw that my hair liked it, and it was one of the only things that would actually moisturize my hair and keep it moisturized, because I have the type of hair, it drinks everything. Okay, like, it literally drinks up everything. So once I found a product that it didn't drink up in literally 2 days, I started to, like, you know, use it in my hair and try to get my hair on a regimen. I started to kind of look at more natural hair videos and learn more about natural hair, and I got my hair on a regimen. And that's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need to get your hair on a regimen, because if you don't, it's like a child, okay? You think of your hair as a child. If you do not discipline or correct a child is gonna act crazy. It's gonna run all over the place. It's gonna be run ragged. You know, a child, or, you know, oh my God, whatever. But I'm sorry, my allergies are so bad. Ugh. Sorry. But yes, it's kind of like a child. You know, if you don't discipline a child, it's gonna be unruly. It's gonna be wild and rambunctious, or if that's the word. I think that's the word. But anyways, I'm not gonna look it up. If I messed up, I messed up. So yeah, and it's the same thing with your hair. You have to train it. And I started to train my hair. So when I started originally, and I know I'm getting off topic, but I kind of feel like this is important to tell you guys. Once I started to train my hair, now I can go a week without doing anything after a wash and go. But back then I could only go 3 to 4 days. 3 to 4 days was like a long time for me, because my hair was so stubborn and so unmanaged and so out of control that I would do a wash and go, and like the next day I hated it. So I trained my hair to go 3 to 4 days. And now it could go a whole week without doing something extra to it. So I can wash my hair. I normally wash my hair on Fridays, and I put my stuff in it. I deep condition sometimes. Every other week I try to deep condition. I put my stuff in it and blow dry it. I go on about my business. I can honestly last a little over a week now if I want to, but I just choose not to. Um, so you have to train your hair. You have to basically see what works for you and your hair type and your hair texture and all that stuff, and you have to train it, because if you don't train it, then it's not gonna listen. You have to tell it what you want it to do, and then it will follow suit, if that makes sense. Okay, so tip number 9, and I feel like tip number 9 goes along with tip number 3. Tip number 9 is you're not blow drying your hair first. If you do not blow dry your hair first, I'm sorry. If you don't blow dry your hair first, then what's the point? Like, even if you just wash it, you put your products in it, you wait for it to air dry, and then you flat iron it, like you did all of this for nothing. Because blow drying is like, I see blow drying your hair for a silk press is like priming it for the silk press. You know what I mean? So your hair goes from, especially if you have 4C hair, your hair goes from very tightly coiled to blown out, so it's looser, to bone straight. If you just go from tightly coiled and trying to go to bone straight, it's not going to look right. So it's going to look like you blew it out instead of actually flat ironing it, which will make you ultimately have to flat iron it again, and it still may not work because you did not blow dry. You have to blow dry your hair. You have to stretch it. You have to blow dry it and all that stuff. So blow drying your hair for a silk press is like the glue that holds it all together. If you don't do that, then you've wasted your time. What are you doing? You have to blow dry your hair before you silk press it. Okay, so I feel like that goes hand in hand with number 3, because it is just a necessary step to a silk press. And last but not least, tip number 10. You're not wearing your bonnet at night, okay? And this is with or without a silk press, especially with a silk press, but even without a silk press, you're not wearing your bonnet at night. You need a satin bonnet. A satin bonnet, a satin scarf. I prefer a bonnet because it covers everything, and I sleep kind of wild, so I prefer a bonnet than a scarf because a scarf will come off my head. Or you can use a satin pillowcase, but if you use a satin pillowcase, me personally, when I use a satin pillowcase, I also use a satin bonnet. I'm sorry, I just can't do without my bonnet. I need my bonnet because a satin pillowcase is good. I'm sorry, I gotta scratch my nose, y'all. Like, my allergies have been real bad. Like, it's real bad. I'm sorry. But anyways, you need the bonnet. Like, with or without a silk press. Definitely with a silk press, but even without a silk press, it will help your wash and goes last longer. It will help whatever hairstyle you have in last longer. If you have twists, if you have a wash and go, if you have a silk press, if you have a twist out, it will just keep it from frizzing up. So you definitely need, like, think about it, ladies. If you wear a bonnet on your head at night over your wigs, why wouldn't you do it for your natural hair? Like, there's some girls that don't. There's some girls that will wear it for their wigs, but not for their natural hair. Like, make it make sense. Like, you have to wear your bonnet to protect your natural hair. It will keep it from breaking off. It will keep it from frizzing up. It will keep it from reverting. It will keep it from drying out on your pillow if you don't have a satin pillowcase. Even if you have a satin pillowcase, I feel like my hair personally will dry out quicker than if I had my bonnet on. So you definitely need your bonnet. The bonnet is the chef's kiss. Like, I didn't do that right, but like, the bonnet is the chef's kiss. Like, that is the the creme de la creme, like that is the added extra protection. You know, you just need a bonnet, okay? If you don't have a bonnet, go to your local beauty supply and get you a bonnet. But if you have a successful, I'm sorry, I have brain fart. If you have a successful silk press, then if you don't wear a bonnet, you did it all for nothing. And I mean, you did it all for nothing if you have a successful silk press and you go to sleep without a bonnet, or you walk around daily without the bonnet. Even when I'm just sitting at home doing nothing and I'm not asleep, I still wear my bonnet. I like to keep my hair protected at all costs. You have to keep your hair protected. It will help. It will fight it again. Like the bonnet will help with the humidity. It'll help fight it against the humidity and all that good stuff. So you definitely need a bonnet. If you are silk pressing your hair or not, even if you don't silk press your hair, wear a bonnet, please, please. You're gonna protect your hair from breaking off, shedding too much, balding, split ends, fairy knots. It just protects it against all of that, humidity as well. But that was tip number 10. That was all my tips, y'all. I'm sorry I rambled a little bit, but y'all got the gist of the video. I hope y'all like this video. Thank y'all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at Thatsshortcake, and follow me on TikTok at Miss Shortcake. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank y'all for watching. Bye.